So how do you see customer service in general, and then maybe specifically to your tenants, and then specifically to property owners?
Sure. So I'll preface this saying we manage actually quite a few different types of properties. Some are in South Minneapolis, some in Roseville, some in East St. Paul. We have a couple coming up in North Minneapolis, and so very, very different types of tenants, very, very different types of properties. And so it's understanding, again, to think about it as a business, it's understanding how to best match the product that you have with the right customer. Product being the unit, customer being the tenant. And so that's what we try to do. And so customer service should be the same. You're just going to have a different type of product. So the product might be a not very nice. When I say not very nice, it means just you don't have a lot like really nice carpets or countertops or beautiful cabinets or things like that. That doesn't mean that the service should match that product. You shouldn't necessarily have different tiers of service. So that's something I want to stress. And the big thing that I really try to push is you treat people like people. And so one, that means you treat them with respect and dignity, but then you also recognize that people lie. And so you trust, it's kind of like that old saying, you trust but verify. And so you listen to what they say, and then you actually have to go check to make sure that's true. And so that's kind of our approach to customer service. And that actually goes a long way. As soon as you stop viewing tenants as commodities and recognize like, wow, this is a customer in front of me right now. How can I create a remarkable experience for them? Because, I mean, people forget, especially homeowners who have lived in the same place for a long time, how stressful moving is. Nobody likes moving. And so a big thing is, how can I communicate effectively and clearly to make this a stress-free transition for the tenant who's either moving in or moving out? And that goes a long way. And so those two things, kind of bookending that experience, the move in and the move out, that goes a long way to creating a great experience for the customer. And then within there, it's setting expectations. And it's saying like, hey, I expect you to pay rent on time. And if it's not, here's what's going to happen. And so, again, just communicate expectations on the front end. And that goes a long way.
Yep. Can you give an example of the move-in procedure that you have that really helps to set that experience?
Yeah, so the big thing that we do is we require a move-in inspection that the tenant actually fills out. So there, what the tenant is doing is actually inspecting us and making sure that the unit is clean, and we basically set the bar. And so we say, hey, this unit is available for rent. This is the finished product. And so at that point, we give them a sheet and say, hey, can you inspect this product? Because this is how we want it to be returned to when you leave. And so that's kind of what we do on the front end is they have the sheet of paper, they're marking stuff on it, and then they send it back to me, and we look it over, and generally I say, okay, great, this is the standard now. When you move out, I'm going to take this sheet, and I'm going to walk through, and I'm going to compare it to the same standard that you did. And so that goes a long way of just communicating that. Other thing is explaining the maintenance protocol. Really, really stressing, we want to know about any issues that you have. Specifically when it comes to low-income housing or tenants that participate in a voucher program, you want to communicate, hey, we're not going to charge you for stuff unless you broke it. If the shower is clogged or there's a drip, let us know. We will fix it for free. Because if they don't report it, that's going to cost the owner potentially thousands of dollars. And so that's almost like a coaching technique where you need to really come alongside them and say like, hey, are you happy? Is there anything going on that we should fix for you? And take that extra mile to communicate, you're not paying for this. We're making sure you like the place you live.
Yep. I think that's really important what you've said, that you have to reach out to ask those questions. I know from my experience, there's been so many times where the tenants have an issue and they kind of just deal with it. Mm-hmm. And then later on, they're like, well, you never fixed this and this and this. Well, maybe if you told us about that, it would be we'd be able to respond to it. But,
so. That's definitely a big one. Then they come back and point the finger at you, That's just not a fun experience as a property manager or for the tenant as well. And so you got to be proactive.
Yeah.
Want to hear more on this topic? Click the link below for the full episode of Maximizing Your Property Value.